those who were involved in making it come to life. Join us as we go behind the door.
Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Door with the Grey Rooms podcast. Today we are discussing a special compilation episode, The Psalms of Samantha, number 1 through 12, which recaps the events of the Samantha Winters story in Season 2, The Hotel. With me today, I have some special guests that I think you'll recognize. Over there by the front desk is Bob. Hi, Bob.
You reek of humanity.
I think that smells nice, though. Manning the elevator is lovable old Todd. Hello, Todd.
Hello, come on over, I'll give you a lift.
Ooh, only if it comes with a free hug. And joining us to discuss what she really thinks about the room service is Samantha Winters. How are you today, Sam?
Are you one of them, or are you like me?
Hopefully we're all the same here, I think.
No, you're new here. You obviously don't know what's going on.
I'll see
What's
my way
it
out.
I hear about? Free hugs.
Oh, gosh, Bob.
I'll give him a request, you know. Comes with a lollipop.
No.
The warden charges too much for the hugs.
And if only we could have the warden here today.
I feel like I'm just doing
what?
some bastardized impersonation of Peter Lewis, just a little bit.
Oh, my gosh, yes! That does have a Peter Lewis feel to it.
A little bit.
Oh, that was great.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Peter Lewis has a
would be
little
more
bit of
like,
inflection, though.
I
Bob
heard
is
there
nothing.
was some free hugs over
There
there.
you go.
Yeah, we need to throw in that extra dramatization of it.
I go up and down and around for hugs.
Ooh, that's pretty spot on.
all
Whenever
all
anybody
love and
does
respect
that.
to the amazing Peter Lewis. What's that,
Yes.
Alistair?
Whenever
PJ,
anybody does that, it always sounds like those DVD games you used to get in the 2000s. Where it was like, can you fill in the blank in this next scene? It always sounds like
FMV
that.
stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, well, it used to be like guess the film DVDs. It was a very, very short-lived medium.
Yeah. I think I remember them. Oh, yes, I remember them now. Yes.
It's part
What's
of
the scene,
special
I think they were
features.
called?
What was your question there, Brooke? Sorry?
I didn't say anything. That was Sarah.
Oh,
We sound so similar.
doing great.
Yes, we
Doing
are the
great.
same. We are the same.
So exciting to be together for the first time like this.
Mm-hmm.
It is new, it is exciting, it is untraveled territory.
Yeah.
It is also over. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Woof.
It's weird. It's very weird.
It is peculiar.
Well, we
Very
haven't
peculiar.
heard the finale yet, but all our lines have been recorded and everything's in, and we're talking obviously about everything that's happened up until the finale.
And the fact that season 2 was in the works for so long, like there was so much prep work getting into it before we ever started recording. So it is really weird to think that it's over.
Yeah. It's been a long journey, and a lot of hands touching this and passing it back and forth and making it better and better each time. It's amazing to see that we've all made it here, and stuck to our schedule. We had a little bit of a slowdown during the pandemic, but continued to give bonus content to people, and here we are. We made it to the end. It's quite fun, actually.
Isn't it amazing that we did all this? The fact that we create all this from our little closets in our own homes, and it gets woven together by Jason and by JM and Cassie makes the art, and we're all coming together in the ether, and we make something pretty darn cool. It's so cool, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's something that I think is its own thing now. Now we kind of just, we're stewards to it. We maintain it. I mean, you have fans now drawing pictures of Alistair and of Todd and of Samantha. Like,
I haven't yet
it's
had
really
any personal
fun.
fan art.
Yeah, like the Grey Rooms doesn't just exist in our heads coming out. It exists in fans' heads that absorb it and listen to it every day.
And that's just
So,
amazing. That is
yeah.
so absolutely cool. Because I am so grateful for this audio voice acting medium we all get to play in, because I really feel like it's opened up so many doors. No pun intended for the Grey Rooms. But it really has just opened up so many doors and opportunities for these stories and these characters and all of these talented creatives to come together and just go, look what we can do. It's so much fun.
Yeah, podcasts deliver a better, entertainment experience, I think, than a lot of other mediums can. It's just the portability of it, being able to listen to them anywhere while you do other things.
Yeah, and Sarah points out something great, which is, Alistair and Sarah and I, as performers, if we're on stage or if we're being cast in a visual medium, we would be cast based on our appearance. And to be able to do these wide-ranging characters, I mean, Sarah would actually probably be cast in the film of the Grey Rooms. I think there's a pretty much 1-to-1 that would work for her and Samantha. But Alistair's Todd, which is such an amazing character, whether or not Todd would be cast as that physically, I don't know.
Right.
But the fact that this medium can allow us the freedom to play so many different things, and each of us has appeared in larger stories, other stories in the season. And that's another example of how we can jump around. It's a wonderful, very freeing medium.
That is a good question, actually, to lead on to something which I'm sure Twitter and Discord will love to get their hands into, is who, if there was a Grey Rooms movie, would you have play your character?
That's difficult. Like for you, Alistair, you've made Todd. Todd is so unique because of what you've done, your acting ability. You're reading. I mean, the character's been created, but you're reading it, and now you're turning it into the character. You're embodying it. So to find someone, it'd be so difficult. You'd have to find that very one specific person on the planet, if they even exist, that could play Todd. You couldn't just dress anybody up as an old man and then have him be Todd, because you've defined him so well.
Well, Alistair, my question is, when you do your Todd voice, or and I'm guessing when you first, were asked to perform Todd, you reached into your bag of tricks and went, "Oh, I've got this voice." Is that voice based on anyone, or do you think it's attached to Robbie Coltrane or something of that nature?
It's as Brooks has mentioned that we talked about it before. It took me a while to realize where I'd pulled the voice from, but it was definitely not. It was definitely not one I invented. It was the closest I've got is definitely the 1989 film animation version of the BFG, and it was David Jason of Only Fools and Horses fame who voiced the BFG in that. And that voice he's a lot tamer in the BFG, but that sort of inflection and that his reading is very much where Todd comes from.
That's cool.
So I would definitely have a younger David Jason, not now, because he's a little bit into his twilight years, shall we say. But a younger David Jason, I would absolutely love to have seen play Todd, because it's like the anti BFG.
Yeah.
It's like the small, overly friendly git.
Alistair, don't you think that when we do the movie of the Grey Rooms, I think, even though your voice has a lot of your Todd voice could be old, it could be anything. I think you'd be great with the
put a wig on his head, Todd, and a dress or something funny, because Todd would do something like that, and there you go. You got Todd.
Todd's a bit amorphous. He's all over the place.
Yeah, that's the other great thing, is that on one hand, our voices can stir up pictures in people's head. But because they aren't actually real or set, I think we could put us all in the right costume and we'd be great.
Or you could do an Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus style casting of Todd, and it's a different actor every time those lift doors open.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah.
you just hear
Yeah.
either the voice or the pacing or the manner of speech or just the mannerisms. And, that's how whoever is stepping into the elevator goes, yes, it's just Todd. It's always Todd.
Yep.
Yeah.
Until one day it isn't.
Well,
Yeah.
now you're spoiling seasons 4 and 5. Come on, guys.
I'm sorry.
I like ideas
So-
that like Raymond, I don't know. I love the idea of that people come back and they get, who knows if they can move into other roles. That would
Yeah.
be, well, they can't, but
There are cameos, but like in what sense is this cameo functioning? Like
Right.
what's happening per se?
Well, we had somewhat of that
Okay.
in the season 1 finale when the warden was inhabiting different characters.
that's right.
Well, and you did
That's
one of
very right.
those.
That's
You
very
were the guy that
I
crashed
did.
the car.
I was the guy that crashed the car.
That
So it was-
season 1 finale was wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Intense.
Alistair, can you do that voice? Your line was, "You're gonna die, Raymond." And when you said that in season 1 finale, like that was just so chilling. You crashed the car into like a tree or something. Can you just say that
Oh,
line?
what was the accent of that boy? He was
He was an
American.
American, but you were just like angry. You hopped out of the car and you said, "You're gonna die, Raymond." It was so creepy.
Oh, I think I was pinned against the tree at that point. I think he was.
That's
I
right,
didn't
the
get
car
out.
pinned.
There was
Yeah,
no
that's what it
movement.
was.
That
I knew there
man
was a
was
car
in
in a
half.
tree.
That was in
I loved it.
between. It was like, it was like, "You're gonna die, Raymond."
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it was just evil. Oh, but it was just such a cool scene.
I know. I really liked the writing of that. It was really fun to just play the warden for a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Oh man.
But then Sarah, you in the finale and with you sort of had the character that everyone seemed to gravitate towards in season 1, and now you are the character the season gravitates around in season 2.
I know, and it's a very unsettling experience for both characters. But no, that was really interesting. Doing the season 1 story, where I was the voice of the teddy bear. That story got a lot of fans, and it also got a lot of pushback. So I think that we grew a lot as a show with that story. But I'm glad we were able to bring the teddy bear back into the story, because I know it really did strike a chord in the right sense with a lot of fans. And that was a very interesting character to play. I really enjoyed, as weird as it sounds to say, I really enjoyed playing a teddy bear. I did. It had like this heart and this humanity, and by the end of that story, I mean, you're just so heartbroken for it.
For the teddy,
because
exactly.
For the teddy bear, yeah, because it wasn't, it was a horrific, terrifying story, but for the central character, the teddy bear, it had an entirely different kind of fear, and it had a different sort of raw, vulnerable emotion to it. And then with Samantha for season 2, it is, like you said, it's very similar, where she's having to observe all of these horrors and nightmares and everything, and she's kind of at the center of it, just being a vessel for the story. And so her experience has been a very interesting one to try to interpret and perform, and I think she's forced me to improve some of my acting chops for sure.
Oh, but you've done such a brilliant job. You really you took her.
Thank you very much.
You took her from this this. I don't want to say naive, because you weren't a naive character. Samantha is just kind of it's like she chooses to be good because that's what will save her from the bad situation. She chooses to look at everything with rosy glasses because she goes through just completely denying what's going on. But you play her with so there you go. You played her that she wasn't naive. She was just denying what was going on, but slowly bringing that real Samantha out, that we end up seeing by the end. And you can, thank God, listening to this compilation, it really puts a new perspective versus trying to go through the season, each episode. Hearing that progression of you in the beginning as Samantha, and as she ramps up, finally dealing, I say midway, a little past midway, with what's going on, resolving to get the hell out, then being whammied by, excuse the pun, whammied by all the new memories, and you just did so phenomenal capturing all of that. So I hope people listen to it so that they can get acting pointers.
Oh, thanks.
Yes.
Well, Sarah, you're also being asked. I've always thought that whoever the prisoner is, and I understand we're only coming to the end of season 2, but whoever plays the prisoner has the almost impossible task every episode to start from an emotional place of, I've just died in a horrible, horrible, painful way. And that, to me, is exhausting if that's for that to be your starting point. And then you've got to come out of that, and be believable in the minutes and that follow as you come back into this reality. And I was impressed, and every time we would send you a script, and I would see what you would have to go through. I would sort of send it to you, and like I was sliding it under your door, and then I would run away.
Don't shoot the messenger. And that was, and like I said, I think that's one of the reasons I've really enjoyed playing Samantha. I have had to, look up some things and learn some new skills and everything. Because like you said, like the scene always begins with revival, with waking up from a nightmare with something. And, I didn't want to fall into the pattern of every single opening just being the exact same gasp, but trying to do something else. And then, her story scripts for just the Samantha arc in each episode kind of follows this really interesting trajectory for like 85% of the stories, not all of them, but where, she awakens from the terror, she calms down, she has this banter with Todd, she has a little bit of introspection, that she has a banter with Bob, and then something pertinent to the story happens. And then she either goes to the next room, either kind of on a high or on a low. And so it's always just kind of figuring out what that trajectory is. And that was one of the really interesting things with Samantha, is how her coping mechanism, other than just, being so focused on, I'm going to get out of here or something, was her banter and how she would talk to Todd and how she would talk to Bob and bounce back from a negative encounter with them. That was fascinating to read in the scripts.
That's right. And
I think.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Alistair.
I think a quality that Samantha embodied was resilience, that we didn't necessarily see as much from Raymond. Raymond was a lot shorter, a lot more fragile.
Yep, very fragile.
Almost in the first season, whereas Samantha had that. There were episodes, as you say, where you're like, right, grin and bear it. I'm going to go through this story. I'll get out the other side, and then I'll learn more. It was. You were far more moving forward in season 2 than Raymond necessarily was. Raymond was sort of fighting against the indignation that he was suffering, and being kept in that place and wanting to leave. Whereas you were like, right, I've got a process. I'll go through this room. I'll get this piece of information. Go through this room. Get this piece of information. And yeah, you had the banter along the way, and you had the highs and lows. But you were very much like, right, this is what we're going to do. It's not fair, but I'm going to do it. And that strength was really cool to see develop over the season, particularly in your interactions with Bob, I felt.
Well, and don't forget Todd and Samantha. I mean...
Oh, of course.
Oh, my gosh. Their journey, I thought, was so wonderful, too. The way Todd... Yeah, I mean, Todd is, in effect, Samantha's friend.
Right, only friend, yeah.
And that's only friend. And it's so... I still, every time I listen to our show and these scenes, I can't believe that they are performed apart. They're performed remotely without either of you hearing the other person say their line, and then they're mixed together and they come out. The final product is so believable and so moving to me, and that's a testament to you and to Jason, of course, who produces them. But I've loved the two of you together. So how crazy it is. This is the first time I think any of us have spoken to Alistair live, except for Brooks. You've had Alistair on Behind the Door.
Yeah, we've had
before.
you on twice, Alistair. But we've been hiding you from Graham and Sarah. So
Give him to us.
It's definitely. I think I've maybe spoken to Graham a couple of times, either not necessarily on recording, but I've certainly spoken to Graham a couple of times. But this is the first time off Twitter that I think me and Sarah have ever spoken.
We interact frequently with each other on social media, but now we're voice to voice, and it's wonderful.
Right. But the fact that you've created so many wonderfully moving scenes already, and yet you've never actually delivered the lines to each other, that blows my mind.
Yeah. You have a very fatherly attitude towards, or you make Todd have a fatherly to me towards Samantha, I think. It's a very tender, like, caring mood, I feel like. You know, you wouldn't... I don't know. I don't know if Todd will go out of his way to save her from anything in particular, but he might in the moment. Maybe if he wasn't thinking about it.
Todd definitely does offer this element to Samantha and the listener. He offers this element of comfort and reprieve, which is really, really nice to have.
Yes, right.
It's a levity that wasn't there in the first season, I don't think. And not to the first season's detriment in any way, but
right.
It adds another level to the interactions and to the stories before and after the rooms, and it gives a bit more depth than we've had before. And it's as you say, it's almost a respite for the audience. It's interesting that you say father figures. I had never read him as that.
Really? Yeah. How you do it though, like how you act, I feel that may be like my interpretation.
No, that's fair. That's totally fair.
It's very warm.
I like people's different interpretations. Mine was always very much coming from a place of, when I was reading it, was sort of gallows humor, of being sort of two souls trapped together. And Todd's sort of eternally trapped. It seems from what we've got at the moment.
I like the fact that. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No. That's fine. But it was sort of. He sees. I felt that he saw in Samantha something that he saw in himself, but at a different stage of his process in the Grey Rooms.
And like you're commiserating together, basically.
Yeah, and it was he was offering more support in the way that he could to a fellow trapped soul.
Yeah.
But obviously we don't know really anything about Todd's backstory at this stage, except that he had a clan mother and lived in a dome.
It was
he lived in a dome city. Yes. And there was some kind of food that you really liked.
What a great layer to add in.
Yeah. That was really, really cool, because I remember reading that script and going, wait, what? And then listening to the performance of it and listening to your performance, I was going, oh, this is so cool. This is great.
Yeah. It expands the universe in a way that, you know, we don't even know how that will be used or be a part of things going forward, but it just sort of cracks open another door that you didn't even know was there. That's so great.
Or if Todd was being truthful.
Well, there's that.
Maybe he's a criminal mastermind. We don't know.
He could just be messing with us for all we know. He's bored. He's there a long time.
What on earth are zaffleberries? Who knows?
The zaffleberries taste like zaffleberries. Oh wait.
Oh, yeah. I think they're in they're the colored things in the breakfast cereal.
It's the zazzleberries. Oh man. So now let's talk about Bob a little bit, because we have not touched on how you approach that yet, Graham. Also, just how Samantha interacts. Bob just seems to hate everything. So please speak on it.
Yeah, Bob obviously comes out of season 1. You know, he had allowed himself to, I guess, care a little bit for Raymond. And, you know, he felt burned by that experience. And I've always sort of approached Bob with the idea that he has done this job for a long time. He, you know, and like anybody who's done a job for a long time, he knows how it should be done. He knows how to do it efficiently. The only thing that sort of prevents that are these obstinate humans who have these questions, and they need to be, I don't know, questions that need to be answered. But you know, I don't need to answer them. I just need them to do what I ask them to do. So I feel like it's always hard to sort of get Bob to rile Bob up, because he's seen everything and he's been doing it for a long time. And that's sort of where I started from, sort of a beleaguered figure in this, you know, and not to talk about what the Grey Rooms is, which is a huge question. And Bob is obviously one of the the characters who knows things and has power. But I don't want to delve that. So just say that I'm someone who's done this job for a long time. And Samantha comes along and she pushes different buttons than Raymond does because she seems to hang on to her sense of humor a little longer. She doesn't seem scared of Bob. She doesn't seem intimidated by him. So that's, I think, unusual. I'm not sure whether Bob, in terms of Bob's journey through the season, I think he does warm to Samantha, and he did warm to Raymond. I'm wondering if this is going to be his arc in some respects, is that he meets the victim, the prisoner, the guest, and he's all business, and then through the course of the season he gets to know them, and he moves incrementally towards, well, here's a mint on your pillow and it's not a spider inside. And will he? I don't want to say Bob is a big softy, but I also like the fact that Bob has his own code. He has his own morality.
Correct. Yeah.
If you if you play by his rules, he'll respect you. But at the same time, Samantha pushes his buttons, and I think he also respects people with character too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and with Bob in season 1, to me, it's not that he wanted to be a human, because he absolutely does not like humanity. But Raymond somehow triggered something in Bob that Bob maybe wanted to take a second look, or take a slightly different look at humanity. Maybe understand it. It seemed like he was interested in maybe kind of understanding Raymond, putting Raymond through hoops, whereas with Samantha, he's very clinical, and you just need to do what I'm telling you to do. We just need to get through this.
Right.
But then, he sees how resilient she is, and it's almost like, no, this is a challenge now. Like you said, he's that kind of like old school, I'll respect someone that maybe is, I don't want to say hard, but I'm not finding the word. But Samantha offers this challenge to him almost. I need to break her down more now.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that she challenges him. That's a great way to put it. And he is, I don't know, he's still very set in his ways, but I think when he meets somebody who has an equally strong set of beliefs, he will listen. He'll listen. It doesn't mean he's going to change what he is going to do, because at the end of the day, Bob always does his job. But he will give somebody who is equally determined to do what they have always done. I think he will give them a little respect. So yeah, it's fascinating that he was, taking a physical form this season.
Right.
Yeah, getting to
season.
see him. That was cool.
Looking guy.
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, it was interesting to see. Initially, I think they were the writing was very careful about how it described him, and I guess even at the end of the season, I mean, I think, who knows what next season is going to be, but I was also interested in seeing how the voice would evolve, and I kind of had ideas to sort of adjust his cadence a little bit, but we decided eventually that we were just going to keep Bob's voice the same and just remove the effects that were on his voice, because this is an audio medium. That was probably the better choice, as opposed to making too many vocal adjustments.
Right. I was a fan of Bob in season 2 with that voice. Like it's a nostalgia already. I mean, gosh, it was 2 years ago that the Grey Rooms first started coming out, but Bob's, what I guess we could call original voice, that masked layer effect. Every time I hear it, it's instant nostalgia. Oh, the beginning of the Grey Rooms. Oh, Raymond. So, I hope that fans see it that way and feel that throughout however many seasons we do and however long Bob is involved. But it was nice to hear.
Well, the trick, my take on when they took off the the effects. Excuse me. I respected that, but I also realized that one of the ways that I voice Vob is I'm very close to the mic and I'm speaking rather softly, which is the antithesis of how I would normally voice something. It's actually one of my pet peeves when a voice actor treats the microphone like they're whispering in someone's ear, and the person they're speaking to is actually 3 feet away or 4 feet away, and you'd never talk to someone that far away from you like that. And when the audio producer edits sound like that, and you have people who are talking at regular volumes, and you're editing them together with people who are murmuring into a microphone, it drives me crazy because it has the effect of like if you were watching a film, it's cutting from a wide shot on one character to a close up on the other person who's whispering, because that's the only way you would hear them. And I always feel it's very selfish of the actor, and so I was a little worried when they took the effects off my voice, because I realized I was going to be that person who was like, "Hello," and I think Jason did a wonderful job of making that work. But I always have moments where Sarah's talking in a regular voice, and I respond, and I'm in this whisper, and I'm like, "Oh, you douche."
Don't worry about it. Samantha thinks the exact same thing about you.
Yeah, it brought him to
Sarah,
life.
what do you think about Samantha's interactions with Bob? Like, how do you feel that Bob thinks of Samantha?
I think, like what everyone's saying, Bob and Samantha's relationship is a heck of a lot different from Bob and Raymond. I think Bob has, like Graham said, he's been around the block. He does his job. He has his code, his standards. But there's this curiosity element that Bob has. And Samantha being, the nosy, inquisitive, curious person that she is, kind of wants to form this alliance with him, kind of wants to, get him to her side. And when he's so unyielding, that was one of the weirdly most emotional things for me in the script, is seeing how hard Samantha is trying to appeal to the humanity in Bob, and how much she isn't seeing that humanity is not there in the way she understands it.
Oh, that is interesting. I like that. Yeah.
Because she's looking for an ally. She's looking for answers. She's looking for help. And I'm not going to say that Bob's a good guy. I mean, I'm not going to say that he is. Bob is not evil incarnate.
Right.
But he's not operating within the same realm that Samantha is operating in.
Right.
Which is kind of why it's fun for her to then go interact with Todd, because Todd still has traces of his humanity, but it's almost like he's had prolonged exposure to Bob and the Grey Rooms and everything. So he's Todd.
Yeah, he's kind of confused a little bit. He's Todd.
Exactly. But just, in those interactions, the banter is fun and it's easy, because, that's also how Samantha's able to get a little bit of her antagonistic side out. But then when she starts hitting her breaking point and she's pleading and she's asking him, just talk to me, just tell me something, give me information, and he won't, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Just because, like I said, she's trying to reach out to him like he's a person, and he is not a person at all in the way we understand them.
Yeah, that's such a cool way to look at it. Yeah, he constantly tells her about his disgust for humanity, and yet all she is trying to do is find some humanity in him. And
exactly.
Even how that kind of correlates, but not really, to season 1 of the idea of humanity, where, again, Raymond was a bad person. You kind of almost, I don't know if you can forgive humanity, or if that's what I'm looking for, but like, Bob saw something. Bob almost seemed to forgive Raymond, even though Raymond was just as bad as Samantha or anyone else that ultimately ended up in the Grey Rooms. But that Bob was not there when Samantha was pleading. It's a very interesting...
Because I think
Yeah.
I think that's also one of the really brilliant aspects of the Grey Rooms is that we go through these stories, through this entire arc with Raymond or Samantha, and we only know as much as they know. As the listener, you're following it from their perspective, and yeah, there might be a quality in them that you don't really care for, but for the most part, you're viewing it through the lens of they're the protagonist, and I want them to be okay. And so, what is really fun then is realizing, oh, Bob sees the whole picture. And so that's why his interaction is so much different with them than, what they're wanting it to be and what the listener is wanting it to be. Because the listener, to an extent, is probably going, oh, well, whatever she did, it must not be that bad. Come on, Bob, help her out. She's suffering. And Bob's over here like, I know the whole picture. I know the spoilers. I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Right. And he's also seen countless people
Exactly.
come before go through the exact same stages of 12 stages of grief or denial.
12 episodes.
This
of
is
grief.
nothing new. This is nothing new.
Yeah. That I think is the big thing for Bob, and the thing that's important for me to always sort of hold on to is that he's seen it all before, which is a weird energy to bring, because it if you lay into that too much, it doesn't leave you room for discovery, which is what makes a character interesting. But at the same time, he can never really be he can't be easily surprised. And it's that's a cool place to work from.
I like the idea that the number of different elements of humanity that Bob's been exposed to is beginning to wear him down a bit. I quite like that idea.
Yeah.
And like inject some humanity into him.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's another great idea that's been kicking around, is that he not unlike Agent Smith in The Matrix, he feels infected.
He's getting mad.
Humanity.
He's getting mad a lot near the end.
Well, which was really fun to watch, because as weird as this sounds, like, as with everything that he went through with Raymond, now with his interactions with Samantha, like, as weird as this sounds, like, it's almost like his guard is up, like he's put up walls, like, no, not dealing with this.
That makes sense.
Like, not really in the sensitive emotional sense, but definitely in the, this is humanity, and I let humanity get too close, and Bob has to remind himself of his mentality towards humanity, and the fuse is getting shorter.
It's like dating. He dated Raymond, and then they ended a terrible relationship, and then he started dating Samantha, and he's just bringing all that baggage with him. So he's like, no, I'm not
gonna
love you that way.
I don't know. Is he dating Samantha, or is Samantha just that girl who's like, hey, want to hang out? Hey, want to hang out? Hey, let's go get coffee. And he's like, I've said no so many times.
Samantha loves Starbucks. That's great.
I mean, I'm pretty certain she lives off nothing but coffee and Jack Daniels.
Yeah. Gotta throw in the JD.
I know. I would say I see Bob as like 100 years prior to Michael from The Good Place.
Oh, yes, interesting.
Yeah. Or who's the other wonderful actor who plays the representative of The Bad Place?
Oh, I know the one you mean. He's one of those actors who's in everything, and then you don't know his name.
I know his character name in another series, but oh gosh, wait, hold on, I'm gonna Google this.
I know exactly who you mean.
Yeah.
What's this actor's name?
Sarah's on it.
I am.
Mark
Evan Jackson.
Oh, nice. Great.
That was
Google.
Swift Google. That was
Mark Evan Jackson. He's also on.
He's on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I typed in Kevin Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Nice.
Power of Google.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of similarities with what's his character? It's called Sean. Is his character on The Good Place? And I think there's a lot of similarities there, because he's seen it all, he's done it all, and he knows that everything is inevitable. But what makes Bob interesting is that he can be nudged or moved out of his rut by strong personalities.
Yeah, it goes back to what you said
pineapple
earlier.
pizza.
Yeah.
He is not
That was a very sweet scene. Todd, you're an amazing cook.
I do love pineapple pizza in real life.
Yay, I'm a fan. I'll say it.
Pineapple belongs on pizza. There, we said it.
Oh, is that 3? What about you, Alistair?
I'm gonna have to wholeheartedly disagree.
Ugh.
The entire room.
God, go eat a piece of
But
ham.
then, like,
Todd.
I'm Scottish. I'll put haggis on pizza. I'll put black pudding on pizza. So
Yeah, see, so
I
why
haven't
not
tried the
pineapple?
black pudding one. That sounds great.
a haggis black pudding pizza is amazing.
That sounds
I think
fantastic.
we actually I was at the No Sleep live tour. I think we force fed David Cummings some black pudding and haggis pizza.
And that didn't become an episode? What?
Wow.
Oh, man.
Pictures where it didn't happen. Do we want to discuss it all kind of... I don't know, well, let's see. I'm trying to think of like where in the ending... Because I don't want to...
Well, sure.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to say, I don't want to ask, like, what do you think the Grey Rooms is, or what do you think's going to happen? Because that's very cliche. So,
right.
You go, Graham. Go with your question.
Why don't we sort of wrap up with this idea, which is, what do you think? Oh no, since we've recorded our lines for the finale, we know what's going to happen in the finale. But let's phrase it this way. What do you? Let's say we didn't know what happened in the finale. What would you hope for your character in the finale, which the listeners have not heard yet? What do we hope for our characters? Does that make sense?
Oof.
What would be our ideal outcome for our character?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh gosh, because now that I have like the idealist in my head going, I would like this, and then the pragmatist is like, yes, but knowing the Grey Rooms.
Okay, so the spin is that you have to explain why it's the ideal outcome. So yeah, go ahead.
Right. Oof. Well, I'll give you a chance to think about it, because I was the one who came up with this stupid thing. I think Bob. Oh, I wonder. See, here's the thing. Does Bob like his job? What does Bob like anything? That's always an interesting. Is he someone who is just happy or happiest when things go to schedule? Is that what he takes comfort in? In which case, in the finale, Samantha realizes her purpose and she gets with the program.
Does what she's told, goes through the rooms.
But he does what she's told, gets with the program, and everything, and the warden stays safely outside of the hotel, and everything, everything is back to normal and what's the word? Unusual. That's
Normal.
Terrible.
Nominal.
Terrible word.
Back to normal.
Standard.
Usual.
And nice and
Status
boring.
quo.
I guess that's what he wants. Yeah.
He'll liven things up with pineapple and pizza occasionally as a treat.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, I was going to say,
not talking to any of you anymore.
Bob is very bored, though, so I almost feel like he wants the drama. He likes to do haiku. He likes to explore little things, and I mean, he knows about pop culture, so he clearly watches TV. He just strikes me as someone who's very bored.
I think he likes quirks. I think like next season we might see him get into model trains or something like that. Like he's got very dad hobbies.
Like after hundreds of years of being exposed to humanity, what quirks, the haiku poems,
These little eccentricities that he's like, oh, that is fun.
I now collect
Oddly into
stamps.
flying kite. Like
yeah,
That's even better, flying kites.
he's on the roof of the hotel. Just this is great.
Where's the damn
collects
lightning?
He collects Coen brother movies.
There you go.
No, that's too high art. It would be like Pokemon cards or something like that.
Oh.
yeah.
Magic the Gathering or something.
Yeah.
What is the one that had like the arm launcher, or the cards would go into
Digimon,
the
was
arm?
it? No.
Yeah, maybe Digimon or Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh, I think that was
Something like
Yu-Gi-Oh.
that.
Or like where like
Beyblades,
there's
Beyblades.
the wrist thing that they would put the cards on.
There's Beyblade.
Yeah, I think that's
Not Beyblades.
I think it's Yu-Gi-Oh.
I've spent a lot of time with Beyblades.
I think it's
but
Yu-Gi-Oh.
this one actually had a thing that's strapped on your forearm. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I think that was like based off of the TV show
That's
or something.
Do we feel
That's
that
what Bob.
Bob is going to end up essentially becoming an evil Arthur Weasley?
Oh,
Just obsessed with the minutia of human life.
what is the point of the rubber duck?
Yeah.
Well,
I like that.
he did
I'm
point
making way
out
too many pop culture references. We're going to have to pay some sponsorship fees or something.
he did point out to Samantha after the whole haiku thing, saying he didn't understand why she had to use so many words to explain the exact same thing. So that would make sense. Yeah, can always make it more efficient.
Keep it succinct.
Yes, keep it very succinct. Well, he is a succinct kind of guy, it seems like. I mean, the fan drew him in a suit, right? Wait, but did Samantha see him in a suit? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Never mind. I was going to say I thought the fan took that from the personality of Bob and put him in a suit because he's like his choice of words are very dapper. So
No, I think that we spend some time talking about how he does pay attention to how he dresses. So I totally believe that he is a bit of a clothing snob.
there you go. So Sarah, what would be ideal for Samantha?
Ideal? Well, let's see here. Cue up the fairy tale music because for Samantha, she would be catapulted out of the gray rooms and into some sort of reality where she has a happy home life. She doesn't feel like she's flailing in her art career.
Mm-hmm. Her parents
a little
care.
bit of column A and column B where, her parents are not only supportive, but enthusiastic of her art career.
Mm-hmm.
And she has a good huddle of friends and a community that she really thinks she belongs in. That is, a simple, nice, let's stay on the safe side, maybe a little bit suburban type community. So idealistically speaking, like that'd be swell. Maybe she'd meet a nice boy, just, he can appreciate the artist within her and, they can go get a drink on the weekends. That sounds great.
Jonathan Hicks is just a sweet farm boy, actually.
Exactly. Like she's city mouse and he's country mouse and they show each other the world and she introduces him to the folks and they think, oh, well, that's just wonderful, sweetie. Now, when are you going to make another painting? That's
there you go.
That's the ideal.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, all right.
And I really, really think that's what's going to happen.
Yes. Well,
right?
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. We want to end it on a happy note this time.
Chances are good.
We'll get more fans
Chances
that way.
are real good.
Well, it's confirmed.
What do you, Alistair, what do you hope for Todd? What do you hope happens to Todd?
Todd's probably got quite simple dreams. I just think he hopes that no one figures out they can press the buttons themselves.
That's it in a nutshell. And thank you and good night.
Wow.
No, I'd like to see in a dream world. I'd like to see Todd do a Willy Wonka and burst through the roof in that lift and fly off into the sunset with Lulabelle, his inflatable companion.
That's right. His little girl.
Go off in search of more of those Zaffleberries.
That's great. That's great. I hope the best for Todd.
as do I.
Oh. Well,
amazing.
I don't know if you guys want to wrap this up now. I did want to maybe give a chance for everyone to kind of just say what they might be working on, or where to find you in social media, that kind of stuff. So let's make sure we get all that in. Do we have anything else we want to pick apart or discuss about this episode? Or this compilation?
No, I think this is great. I mean, how long did this episode end up being?
3.5 hours.
Hot dang!
Man, I'd like to. I mean, we know the stories pretty well because we were part of them. But I would love. Hopefully, there are thousands of people who have sat down to that 3.5 hours and thought, this is just the right amount of content.
Wouldn't that just be wonderful? I would like to say, only because this question was asked earlier and I did not get to put my answer in soon enough.
Oh, yes.
For the movie, I am 100% certain that Doug Jones will play Bob.
Ooh.
Oh, well,
can still be voiced by our own Graham Rowat, but
I mean, I'm very, very
what would
tall,
the costume
like Doug
be,
Jones.
What would the costume
exactly
be?
Well, and that's what I'm thinking. We weren't quite shown too much of what Bob's human appearance was. We just knew it wasn't quite right. So that's why I'm just thinking, well,
Yep.
Doug Jones hasn't worn enough makeup in his lifetime. Let's put something else on him.
There you go.
Oh no, yep.
I agree. Perfect. Yeah,
That's really
excellent.
interesting. That's really interesting.
Good choice.
I would have had Stanley Tucci,
Ooh!
Oh.
Yep, that's also excellent.
but then
movies
I
are
want
also
Stanley
good.
Tucci to be in everything. So that I'm
All the
biased.
things.
Absolutely.
That's a good pick there, Sarah. Though that's an awesome pick.
That
I
was
like
all.
that one.
That's my 2 cents worth.
Okay. Can we ask you, Sarah, just to maybe kind of tell us some of the stuff that you are working on, because you're on lots and lots and lots of podcasts, and I just wanted fans to kind of know where else they can find you and everything that you do.
I can be found in various audio dramas, including the No Sleep podcast, Copper Heart, the audio drama, and The Beacon. And all 3 of those are very different genres, so there's something there for everyone. If you are, well, you're listening to this, so naturally you're a horror fan. You'll love the No Sleep podcast. Copper Heart has elements of sci-fi and alternate dimensions, which is a lot of fun. Graham is also in that. And then The Beacon is kind of this college slice of life. Life isn't stressful or angsty enough, so let's suddenly wake up one day and have superpowers kind of story.
Ooh.
And then there's a few video games coming out that currently I can't share with you.
Oh.
So follow me on Twitter at Sarah Ruth Voice, and I will let you know what those are as soon as my NDA is up.
Most excellent. That's awesome. Can we ask how many video games?
There are 2 coming out. And then, there's 2 that are in the works. And then the other big project currently is an audiobook that we just started work on this week, which is going to be so much fun. So lots of good stuff. Lots of fun is happening.
Woohoo! That's awesome. How about you, Alistair? Aside from the Grey Rooms, any dipping your toes in
aside
anything?
from the Grey Rooms, I'm actually there is one video game we can talk about, Sarah.
Which one?
Which came out this week, or a couple of weeks ago, actually. Now, Wicked Willow.
Oh yeah, Wicked Willow finally came out. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We're in that together.
Oh, sweet.
We are indeed. I'm not sure if our characters meet.
I
played through most of them. I'm Shadow, the cat.
We do meet briefly in the prison, in the jail scene. So
That's right.
Alistair plays this wonderful talking cat, and I play this villainous succubus who's kind of trying to corrupt the main character that the video game player plays as. And Alistair and I don't like each other at all. Can you imagine that? But Alistair does a fantastic job as Shadow, the cat.
And same to you. Zarcy is your name.
Zarcy.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, that launched a couple of weeks ago now.
On Steam. Check it out. It's got some great artwork. It's got lots of different routes that you can play. So
we'll put that in the show notes, since now that we know that it's available to promo, we'll make sure that people can find that. So yay, cool. Congrats, you two. That's awesome.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah.
No worries.
Graham, what about you? Sorry, Alistair, back to you.
No, I was going to say, aside from that, I haven't I haven't been doing much recently. I'm moving house at the moment, which has been wonderfully waylaid by the current circumstance. But
oh man!
Finally, in July, we sold our house in March, and we finally legally got it sold 2 days ago.
Oh goodness, that's a while.
Oof. Yeah. So we are now moving in a couple of weeks, and then I will have a full studio that I can work from. So I will be flinging myself at everyone's doorstep, begging for work.
Following in Graham's footsteps.
No. Side by side.
Shoulder to shoulder next to Graham's footsteps.
Yeah.
Still one hand on his coattails.
There you go.
Well, I will do everything in my power to make sure that we are side by side.
He's taller, so he leans
the way
forward.
for us all.
There you go. Yeah, so Graham, tell us which podcast you are not on, and then we'll tell everyone to go listen to everything else.
I'm not on Mars Fall.
Okay. All right.
But everything else. Yes, it's funny. I feel like the stuff keeps coming out, and it's. I mean, as Sarah mentioned, she and I are both on the No Sleep podcast, which is it's crazy because the Grey Rooms has been something that started from nothing, and we've been there since the very beginning. And it's fascinating to watch a show start from zero, and then on the other hand, to be able to be involved in No Sleep, which has such an avid following. It's equally pleasurable to be sent a script and to record a script and to hear the finished product and to know that it's going out to these tens of thousands of listeners, and then to see that our own show sort of continue to ramp up, and which was inspired by No Sleep, and grow, and it's just fascinating to see things from both ends, and also to see how doing good work like we try to do here at the Grey Rooms can sort of lead in the direction of a wonderful, inclusive and horrifying juggernaut of No Sleep.
Unstoppable.
But Copperheart is also going strong. I can't wait to hear the finale for that. I appear regularly on the SCP Archives podcast, and I'm going to forget everything. Among the Stars and Bones was a great podcast that finished season 1 that I thought was great. Yeah, I've and the Wicked Library. I continue doing stuff.
The both of you do.
Yeah,
you and Sarah.
Yeah,
right. Because Sarah, I've caught you on quite a few episodes.
Yes, I've done a few stories for the Wicked Library. They're always a lot of fun to work with.
Yeah,
I feel like I literally have to go to Podchaser and look up my own profile to
see what you're on.
I'm involved in sometimes. Well, like I just finished recording. There's a new podcast coming out sometime in the next month or two called Ray Nation Theory. And I got the role and I got the text for it. And the text ended up being, a lot. And I said to the writer, I'm like, look, I'm going to give you a half an episode every week. And it took me months. It took me months to finish it. And he now has everything, and I can sort of check that off. But it's amazing these shows we do where you can record it all over the course of months, and then you don't know when it's going to drop, and then you almost forget about it. And I had something come out. My first thing came out 3 weeks ago, and I was tagged on Twitter, and I honestly couldn't remember what this was.
Oh, no.
And that's bizarre to finally have reached that weird.
Yeah, if it's something you recorded
That's
like
cool.
a year ago or a year and a half ago, and maybe they didn't contact you yet, and it was just featuring you in something, and you got tagged, that could be a little like, oh my gosh, a little jarring.
Yeah, it's weird because I also you want to be active and you want to be involved and you want to be working with all these great creators. At the same time, you want each of them to know that you care about their project. So it's weird to be prolific and not come across as being uncaring and unsensitive, and so it is a bit of a blow when you're like, I honestly don't remember this, because you feel like you're fulfilling the stereotype, and I hate that. So.
I don't think anyone would really personally think that, hopefully, because it is understood that so many different podcasts are being made and released at different times. I would hope that would be understood.
Yeah, that's I think is the kicker, is you just don't know how a lot of times when these shows are going to release, so that does give you a little bit of leeway.
Right. All right.
Yeah, the post-production side of things, when all of a sudden you're like, oh, and now my part is done, so I just kind of forget for a little bit.
Right.
Right. Because you don't know. It's only, No Sleep that has such a fast and tight turnaround that you can actually go, oh yeah, I think I'm on the show this week. But a lot of other shows you're like, oh yeah, that was a really good story. When's that coming out? Oh, in July. Okay, cool.
Hey, don't you have like a 2-week lead
Tag me,
or
bro.
3-week lead, something like that? I don't know. Yeah, that's a great turnaround.
Yeah. I think it's 3 weeks right now. which is a luxury for
That's
them.
a great turnaround. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Awesome.
Luxury. Yeah.
Well, I think this will do it for our Behind the Door. This would be... Well, no, we have Season 2, Episode 13 coming out. I was going to say this would be our last Behind the Door, but maybe we'll do another Behind the Door. Who knows?
Maybe we'll be able to get all these talented people again and talk about that finale.
Yes, maybe. I don't want to...
Oh, just maybe.
Yes. But otherwise... I am Brooks Bigley, the host today. With me was Graham Rowat.
Thank you. I don't even know who that was. That wasn't even Bob. That was Bob.
That was the In a World guy from the movie trailers.
Yeah, that really was.
We also have Sarah Thomas.
Somewhere around here. I don't know where she went.
She went somewhere. And then Alistair Mackey.
Sitting in a lift all alone.
Don't let him push the buttons.
Don't let him push the buttons.
That's my one job.
And together we are the Grey Rooms. On that note, thank you everybody. Have a great day and sayonara.
Sayonara.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Join us each week after every episode for another edition of Behind the Door.